I'd like to call upon the Icturian and the Palladian and any other collectives that are here to help us with the questions we have.
Yes, we are here at this moment.
Well, thank you so much. We would like to be able to understand quite a few questions today. The first question I have is about the volunteers. As you know, Dolores Cannon phrased the term of the three waves of volunteers. I'm curious to know if there is an official fourth wave. What can you tell me about that?
What we can tell you is that, yes, that is a term that Dolores has used and that we have provided her. That there are waves within the waves, if you will, of collectives that have chosen to come upon Earth. However, there is not a fourth wave of volunteers in a sense. It is more just like high frequency, more connected to crystalline energies. Uh, but they do, that is their purpose. It is not so much to, it is for them to hold the energies, but not to work with the energy and transmute the energy in a way that the volunteers really had a specific contract and a specific mission. This was just a way to send higher frequency energy to the earth.
Thank you so much. And so, in the summary, for those people who are not aware of the differences between the first, the second, and the third, what can you tell us about the first waivers?
What we can tell you about the first waivers is that they were like our first eyes and ears on the earth realm, and that they really were here to set the tone and to more or less gain intel to see if we could just use, we were trying to use the most limited amount of resources as possible to come in and help with the ascension. However, once they got here, we realized that we needed them more as giving us information so we could prepare the next waves and help them with like redefine their contracts of what they were going to experience here on earth, because the first waves, they came in with very heavy contracts, and we didn't, we didn't know that it would be as hard on this with this density and with the frequency hijack like they were, for them to create it. So it was it came in with one intention, but then we refined it once they hit the ground to make it more about just really gaining information and setting the tone so that it made it easier for the next waves, like setting the with the relationships that they created and the information that they would give other humanity about who they were. It was really setting the stage for the second and third wave volunteers.
Fantastic, thank you. And what can you say to us about the second wave?
The second wave, we were not intending to, during that time, actually have a third wave. So the second wave were actually what we were hoping would be the ones that helps with enlightenment. But what ended up being is that they had were really about the experiences, and they had really full contracts, and they were understanding how you could become a part of some of the lower density energies within humanity. And they were also about navigating their way through it and transmuting it and finding the higher enlightened understanding of what like the remembering, the removing of the veil.
Thank you so much. And what do you say about the third waves?
The third waves are here to just, they were brought in with a higher frequency, and they really are about just tying up all loose ends and helping support the work of the first and second wave volunteers. So their contracts are not as full with life experiences in the lower density realms. They're more about embracing and just really tying up the loose ends for all of the waves of volunteers.
Thank you so much. And what do you say about the volunteers that have children? Is this part of their contracts or not?
The volunteers that have children, some of them, it was not in the contract. However, the denseness of the energy, we we worked together to change their contract, and the children were a way of the higher energy, the higher frequencies, uplifting them. And a love for a child will help drive you to remember your true purpose in this world. So it was also a way of realigning those beings that got bogged down by the density to honor their contract. So it was a way for us to re-navigate, and it was also a way for those volunteers to help enlighten, once they did remember, help enlighten and show those their children the way of remembering.
Thank you so much. So intriguing. Really appreciate that, and I want to send love. Actually, can we all, now that we have all the collectives here, can we send profound love and healing, gratitude and acknowledgement to all of the volunteers here who are on this planet at this time, doing their service and completing their missions and purposes to be able to awaken humanity and get them ready for the shift.
Yes, we would love to do that at this time, and we would love to really let them feel that honor and that gratitude, as it was very heavy and dense what they came into, and they did it united in a way, although they arrived at different times, but they had a united purpose and a united love for humanity, and we just want to honor and acknowledge that.
May they be able to release anything that disempowers them. May they be able to release anything that is lower density energies that are not theirs. I know that most volunteers are fantastic empaths, but they collect energy without realizing that it's not their own, and that it is simply for them to hold it and take it from others to release it out, and to be of service that way. Are we able to use my free will and everyone's intentions who are listening to be able to ask now for those energies to be released because it no longer serves them, and for them to be able to understand and notice the difference in the shift of their own energy fields, understanding that this is a purpose and a role for them to play, but they don't need to hold on to that density because it truly no longer serves them.
Yes, we would love to provide that to them, and we'd love to remind them that anytime they are feeling that way, they can use their free will to ask us to help them transmute that energy. They are all here gathering this information, gathering this energy that has been bogging down humanity, and they're cleaning house in many ways. And we want to offer them the healing and the guidance that they are their own healers and can ask for this at any time. And we'd love to send that right now.
Thank you so much. And for anyone that does see any conversations or any chats with people who are self-titled empaths, or anyone that is struggling with energies right now, how would you like us to remind them with love about grounding? What is the most appropriate information we should share to them?
So we will share the most appropriate information, which we repeat over and over, is that grounding is important to be in nature. Kick off your shoes, drink water, talk to your cells, remind them, ask them to remember the information that you have forgot. Infuse the water with remembrance. As we've spoke before about the toxins that are in the water, you can reactivate them with your intentions and asking them to remember and to remind you of your bigger purpose. Use your free will to connect with the teams that are supporting and guiding you, trusting that all that is meant to be will become across your path, and knowing that you are the creator of your world, and you are creating whatever reality, whether it be from lower energy or higher energy, that you choose to, as this is a free will planet. So we encourage you to use your free will to ask for all things of the highest vibration, and we will in turn provide, and the universe and the oneness of all will provide and bounce that back to you. But you have to ask.
Thank you. And for those people who have heard about the shift in New Earth and have said, not in my reality, I do not choose to create that, that does not seem to be something I'm open to, What do you say to them?
Then you are in what humanity would view as part of the problem from holding back and grounding in 3D density things instead of grounding in a higher fifth dimensional or even higher dimensional ascension. It is where you choose to put your focus is where your reality will manifest. And so we would ask also that what is holding you back from more beautiful reality? What is that fear? What is that resistance? Why do you want to stay anchored in a lower density reality? Once you start asking questions, then the answers will provide you the healing that you need. It is the fear of the unknown that most people in humanity and even beings of enlightenment that choose to really get stuck in that fear is where the problem is, because they're not moving through it to allow for a more beautiful reality.
Thank you. And what do you say to those people who have heard about the shift to New Earth and have responded and feel that those people who are saying this is because they feel victimized in this lifetime, so they're wanting to escape? What would you like us to understand about that?
Well, it could also that the escapism could be something that some are needing to understand to catapult them to apply and learn the lessons. So it's with everything. It's where you stop and where you don't flow through. It could be escapism, could be what a lot of people are seeking, because the lower dimensional energies are very hard, and humanity has been stuck in those realities for too long now, for so many lifetimes. So escapism is just wanting to seek a better place. And then once you kind of understand that the escapism is not somewhere to also stay in, that it's the escapism is offering an opportunity to ask higher perspective questions and to receive higher information. And then you'll realize that it's no longer about escaping to New Earth, but to building and creating a reality of New Earth, in one that you have to work through the lessons to get to. It's all about the lessons and all about heightening the frequency and the vibration with what is going on now, so that all can ascend, not escape. That escape is a running away. Ascension is a moving to. And there is a very big difference between the two. And it's just more about fear versus empowerment. And, but the reality is, it's happening. And humanity and the collectives and all that are here right now have a big role in how quick that happens.
Thank you. And then what do you say to people who are saying that if we are referring to Gaia and focusing on her suffering, that that is merely just a projection, and that it is about the suffering that we are feeling within ourselves? So therefore, that is the information we are sharing.
Gaia is suffering and humanity is suffering, and that is the need for the ascension. Is that humanity has had opportunity after opportunity to ascend unawakened, and however the densities that are here right now has not allowed that to happen. You can acknowledge one's suffering. You can acknowledge the suffering of Gaia and the suffering of self. That there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that, but it also leads to an awakening and an understanding that there is much more empowerment. That even though Gaia is suffering right now, she's choosing to stay right now to help. And that is empowering, that she still has choice through this all. And all humanity and the collectives, even though they are suffering right now, have choice whether to stay and step up into their power, and to understand that through this suffering, you can find the peace and the love and the light and the freedom that you want to and you choose to at this very moment. Suffering and love and light can exist in the same body.
Thank you so much. And just a reminder for those people who think that the new Earth is here currently on this planet with this consciousness, what would you like us to know?
The energy frequency and the understanding of it, it does exist here. However, it is a physical realm, it is a physical realm and a physical body outside of this earth realm, and it is a different location. However, we have been sending the frequency of the fifth dimension onto this planet during this time to help you prepare for the ascension to the new location that you will be going to.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate all the information that you have been and always have been providing for us to be able to understand really what is happening
You're
for humanity and this planet at this time as we grow and understand things from the bigger perspective. So we were wondering if we could connect in with John McAfee, please. We have some questions for him and we are curious to hear from him.
This is John.
How are you doing at the moment?
I'm good. I'm doing really good. I just gave Carrie some high energy. She was like, I'm getting heart palpitations. John must be coming in.
Would you like to refer? Would you like to be referred to as the heartthrob?
The heart throb, not the heartbreaker.
Fantastic. Okay, well, each time that we connect in with you, we notice that your energy is more lighter and you're seeming to be able to master the realm you're in, and seems like you're getting lots of healing. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've been feeling it. I mean, time's such a weird thing here that really you accelerate with the healing a lot quicker than we're used to on Earth. And so I've really been enjoying this time and getting I needed it. I mean, I was confused just like all of you are. And I really did need this element of healing. And I realize that I'm more focused now in what to do.
Fantastic. So you're still doing and completing your life purpose and mission, even though you have departed your physical body?
Yes. I'm still in energy that is connected to Gaia right now and the people within it. And I still am connected to my contract that I wanted to fulfill. And so that is why I am still energy that is here on Earth.
Thank you. People have been inspired to send me links of a Telegram group that they are saying you have created. What would you like me to know about that?
Well, in a sense, I've created. I mean, you guys get guided and messages to do certain things. And what Joe, you do channeling, you understand that those messages are from beyond the physical realm. So, in a sense, I did inspire the creation of this channel, and I did inspire the distribution of information. However, I don't have a vessel. I don't have a vehicle on the earth right now. Although I have done some jump-ins and that's kind of fun, but not for the people. They're like, technically I'm jumping in right now, but I have inspired those through my energy and through the guidance that I am able to do on the realm that I'm at right now.
Fantastic. And I know that Carrie loves it when you jump in.
Yeah, she does. She likes my energy and she thinks that she could have a drink with me and laugh with me, which is true. I mean, I'm a funny guy.
Fantastic. Absolutely. And so, I did not know anything really about you until you departed. So pardon me for that lack of information. I am curious about the information that you do have in terms of it being released publicly. It seems that people have been holding on to a certain time frame for that information to be released. What would you like me to know?
I would like you to know that it's already begun. I did tell you that the information was released upon my death, and it was released with the government officials that it needed to be. However, now it is disseminating and being decoded and deciphered. All that have followed the clues are able to gain this information. And so one would think it would just be a mass gateway or a doorway to an unlocking of information, but really it's like an Easter egg hunt to all that are seeking the information. And it empowers humanity, that they're excited about following the cookie trail, the crumb trail, if you will. And it will empower those that can step into their bravery to share the information. And so it's another form of uniting humanity. If we would have just gave it in one broadcast or disclosure, that somewhat disempowers. And this is another way to get free will activated within humanity to help in the contract that I wanted to of disclosing information that was of lower frequency and lower density that did not serve humanity.
Okay, so when people have been using a countdown clock, what would you like us to know about what they will notice coming to their awareness in the public realm?
They will start to see a leak of all this information. However, you're still in a 3D planet. You still have systems in place and government systems that they are needing to play out the way they are. And so it's not just going to come out and wipe out those systems. So some of them are going to have to officially follow the rules of the pseudo fake governments that are still in existence, because that is a part of the awakening as well. So what I am saying is some of these will come out in this form as lawsuits, as form of, having to go through the court systems to unveil the ones that are what you would view playing for the good team and the bad team. And so it is just another way to sift out the rats in the sewer. And this is how humanity awakens. This is all that's been going on, especially this past year of humanity, is that they're disclosing all along, but it's just in a way that is small bits. However, there will be a lot of underground, news agencies that will cover and do interviews of this information, and will get out that way as well. But, we need different platforms to reach all.
Okay, thank you. I do understand. And were you aware of nanotechnology when you were alive?
Yes.
How can you explain it to me?
Everything nanotechnology is just hijacking the frequency or radio wave of anything. So any frequency or broadcast could be hijacked. And so these are just small micro robots, if you will, that we are just able to take over the broadcast of them, and they are able to have a mind of their own, and in a way that's being controlled, if you will. So we control the technology, and then the technology sends out frequency to control whatever it's within.
Could I ask Carrie's subconscious and higher self to do a body scan and ask if Carrie's body has any nanotechnology?
We are doing that right now. We do not show any. It did exist. It has purged through her body. Part of the alignment and the reconnection with your spiritual team, and having all of your transmitters or chakras, having those all aligned, will naturally purge out that technology within your bodies. So when you do all the inner work, and when you do all of the reconnection and use your free will to do that, although you may not know you have this technology within you, it will naturally, like a magnet, it will naturally expel those things that have been toxins within your body.
What would you like to say to people who are worried that they may have nanotechnology within them? How do they release that?
Use your free will to ask for it to be released. It is that simple. That is about stepping into your power and embracing, your empowerment instead of being in fear.
I have been connected to a few people who have messaged me saying that some channelers are talking about other influencers and potentially maybe myself having this technology. What would you like us to know about that?
What we'd like them to know is that they are speaking from a place of fear, that they are not truly stepping into their own empowerment. If they ask for free will to not be connected with any beings that are taken over by technology, then those beings would never come across their frequency. They would never hear their messages. And so we tell those people who are in fear, use your free will for it to not occur within your realm.
When they're listening to people and they don't know whether this is the nanotechnology information or whether it's their ego or whether it's high dimensional beings, how can they know what they're hearing?
They can ask their teams. It's all about free will. Ask, is this something that I is resonating of truth or false frequency? And then trust and release that appropriate answer will come within you. It is just like when all of you star seeds and all of humanity start the awakening. How many people that you were once resonated with and once really held a space for just fall off the plane because that frequency no longer resonates with you. If you resonate from a place of fear and doubt, then that is going to bounce back to you, and that is what you are going to receive. If you use your free will to ask for none of those things to exist on your realm, then that is stepping into your empowerment, and you have to trust that all that is pure and of truth will come back to you.
Could we ask for those influencers who are spreading distruth because they have this technology within them? Can we ask their teams now to disconnect them from that?
We can ask for that, but there are some that still serve a purpose to teach humanity to step into their power. And so we will help and release as many as we can, but also knowing that the contracts of free will and empowerment still need to be honored. And so we will not heal and disconnect all transmissions, but we will do it in the best interest of all.
Yes, I do understand and respect that and know that we cannot force healing on those who need to experience certain things to be a part of their life contracts. So I do appreciate that, and I'm not pushy. Can you show Carrie, please, without naming names, those big influencers who are misguided with information which is not of their life contracts and purposes, so then we can privately work on them later?
Yes, we will show it to her, and we will continue to show it to her over the next course of what she would see as a day. She can keep a list. We will have them imprint and pop in, and then she can keep a list, and you guys can work on that.
Well, thank you so much. I know that those people who are following these influencers would really appreciate that too. So I really appreciate all the help and wisdom you are offering us so we can be of service to help all. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And then, is there any? I will just get back to John McAfee because I know I've left him hanging. Is there any other messages you would like us to know today, please, sir?
The messages that, I feel a little heaviness right now because I know what you are all going through, and I know the stumbling blocks that you all are, faced with in the challenges. I can only tell you that, like, I am one that on earth, when I was in my physical body, like, I really did surrender a lot of time to those challenges, and I wanted to grab at anything that would raise my vibration. And now that I'm here at this level and I see it from the perspective that I do, I really, it is what it is. I can't go back and change it. I realize that. But in looking back in the lessons that I've learned and applying it, I just want to share with you all to not surrender to those moments you just feel like you don't have the ability to keep going forward to a higher, higher frequency. Like really, really just stand in your power, and don't succumb to what they want you to succumb to, because you're just giving your power away. And I gave my power away more than I'd like. But you know what? I also did some good. So I cut myself a lot of slack. But I just really want to encourage you all to keep going. It's only going to get better from here, is what I mean by disclosure, and the whole show of it all is just only going to get better from here. So really look forward to that, and really embrace your power, because what you guys are doing there and the light that you guys have been able to hold there is so important. And I really am blown away from this perspective, because I did have my head up my ass a lot of life, and so I didn't realize that there were so many good people on the world.
Well, as always, we send love and respect and honor to you. And we do really appreciate all the things that you're doing to help humanity still. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. Sending so much love to you and all of the people that you still care about on this planet, which I know probably has grown a lot since of your departure. But thank you.
You're very welcome, and it's always my pleasure to come in and talk with you ladies.
You're always the charmer. Have you been cloned? Have they used a clone to be able to share your information, or what are we going to see and hear about you moving forward?
Oh yeah, I heard you guys talking about that earlier. I was dropping a little hint there, like, yep, there's a clone of me. There were many that were people that, while I was on this earth, that looked like me. And they were pseudo clones in a way, but they were really just hired people. But there is actually my own DNA. There is a clone, and the show is going to get really good. Let's just say that.
Oh, and so how did they get your DNA to be able to clone you?
Oh, and I was in, there's plenty of opportunities to get DNA, but when I was arrested, they did take my DNA. I was also, there was one time when I was drugged. This was like what on Earth 2 years back. I had done a lot of drugs, and there was something put in one of the bags of drugs that I was doing, and they were able to take DNA during that time. And so they have different phases of clones that they are trying to create right now. But there is an older one that has had time to cook, so to say, that they are going to try to pull off that it's me. But you guys will know.
Oh, that's so interesting. And so, with your higher self and subconscious, um, they allowed this clone DNA extraction to happen for you.
They allowed it. They knew that I wasn't going to step up and do the disclosure in life. And they knew that the clone and the disclosure of that after my passing would help in the awakening of all. So it's all to a bigger purpose and a bigger contract. It may seem really like, clones are a new idea for a lot. So when I'm saying this now to you all, expecting that it's just like talking about, like, what'd you have for breakfast? Not realizing, right, like that it is actually a pretty big idea conversation that I'm introducing here. So like I totally get that. But in all, it was a part of the contract, and just knowing that I wasn't going to be able to disclose in life. And so this is just part of the awakening of all humanity.
I see. So the clone's going to represent you in a positive way to be able to disclose the information that you have been collecting. Um, I understand.
Yes, and it's going to give an opportunity for people to ask bigger questions, bigger informations. The ones that go that have that question of like, is that him? Isn't that him? They're going to ask higher information. Their teams are going to guide and support them. So it all really just plays into the evolution of understanding of what's going on.
And so the clone is best representation of the role you played for humanity?
Well, I mean, it's not the best. It's not number one, right? Like, because I'm right here. But with what we're given right now, yeah, it's the best of what needs to happen.
And so, for those people that assume that clones are all evil and negative, what would you like us to know?
Well, I mean, then, everything has a purpose, right? So, my clone is not of it serving a higher purpose. There are clones that may seem from like they are evil and negative, but isn't that all about getting people to say this doesn't resonate, this feels icky, this feels awful? Like, what is going on here, and to ask higher questions, which creates a connection between your spiritual guides and then for you to understand and have that connection. So, you can view it however you want to view it. But in all reality, like everything serves a purpose, and life contracts are huge. And you honoring your life contract is a huge part of that purpose.
Thank you. And so, how will we notice that this clone is not the official and the original?
You'll see physical discrepancies, as all clones have. Even though it's a DNA, it's still not underneath the same situations of the aging process. You'll see mannerisms that are different, and you'll see it start to glitch, as most clones cannot be activated for too long, because they're just not able to hold the frequency to exist. And so clones don't live as long, they don't have as long of a lifespan, they really do start to glitch out. And they're going to try to blame it on vaccinations, but people who know me, I'm not getting vaccinated, and I never would.
So, how are your family members and the people that you love going to view this clone? Will this confuse them? Or do they have connections with it and contact with the clone?
No, my families will know that it's not real. However, they are not going to be given a platform to publicly disclose it at first. It will take some time for them to be given a platform, to uh, let the world know.
Okay, well, we will send them love and healing and support as they are going through this journey with us.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Okay, so we'll return you to do your humanitarian duties. So thank you once again. And are we able to connect back with all of the collectives, please?
Yes, we are here right now.
Thank you, really appreciate it. I'm curious to know about the last session I did with Jane about the healing of the two collectives. What would you like us to know about the impact of that, please?
Well, the healing that was done was very profound. It was profound for both collectives and our collectives as well, the Octurian and Pleiadian collectives. The love given and the love received was more broad than we had expected, in giving Jane that wisdom and insight to offer that. There is much peace and much healing and much understanding now between the Dracos, the Octurians, and the Pleiadians. There is a higher insight into how we all can support into the evolution. As far as the Anunnakis, they are still sitting pretty on, if you will, on their thrones, feeling like they have mastered the 3D. They feel very they've self-secluded themselves, and that was somewhat of a protective mechanism, because they'd have to acknowledge some of the harms that they potentially did in the cycles that were happening on humanity and the collectives on the earth realm. And so they self-isolated in order to kind of protect themselves and keep themselves within their bubble of their society. And when they've done that, they kind of don't know how to reconnect in a more natural way of understanding with all, because they're self-preserving in a way. And so they are having discussions. They are trying to see it from the higher perspective. They have received that love and that healing. However, they're somewhat blocking it of the transmission from being free flowing between the two. And we see them progressing though. And we encourage them to step into their power of not being afraid that there's a place in all of this for them.
Does that mean that they will be able to relocate after the shift somewhere else?
They have always had this ability. Relocation has always been something that they have been able to access. However, they did not want to leave their comfort zone. They like being masters here. And so they don't want to go and feel like they're afraid of karma. They're afraid that the karma that they are going to then be manipulated by another collective of beings wherever they go, because they feel like the karmic cycles within the earth realm, that it would naturally be taken with them, and that they would then be kind of the slaves, if you will. And they need to release that, and they need to realize that everything is a purpose, whether they are feeling, on that end of it or not. But they really, really just are afraid to leave. They feel like God's here on earth.
I see. And so we were just given an opportunity to learn information about Alex Collier yesterday, which was complete surprise of the information he was providing back in 2094, I think. This information completely blew me away because it was matching the information that we've got from channelings and from sessions. And as you already said today, that everything is purposeful when we are aware of certain new information. One of the information pieces he said was about karma from other planets, and it hadn't quite occurred to me that beings who are born on this planet come with karmic contracts to pay off from other planets. Is this correct? What else can you tell me about that?
Yes, karma can come to another. It has to be 3D to 3D. It cannot be because the same cycles do not exist at a higher dimension. And so it has to be 3D or less dimension, if you will, in a way that it has to be brought here on earth. And at first it was supposed to be a heavenly place and a beautiful place where that karma that is brought to this beautiful, clean earth was supposed to be easily able to be mastered through. However, what had happened was that the dense energies in the way the earth grid was changed and manipulated, it actually entrapped and enslaved that karma here and made it so that it almost, that if you think of it like really sludgy, what was brought, that sludge just kind of grew and became more sticky and more dense, like tar, like a tar pit of growing. And then it made it so that it like you couldn't shake it off even if you wanted to try. It just had such a hold on the density of this planet. And that was never how it was supposed to be created. It was supposed to be an easy place to master and release and transmute that karma. And so that's what has entrapped humanity here, is that they just couldn't free that sticky denseness. But yes, karma is able to go like to like density.
Fantastic. Why is it now that I have been guided to see the information from Alex?
You've been guided because it is time for you to understand and put all the puzzle pieces together. You have been given so much information, but it's been like a little bit here, a little bit there. Like John had said earlier about the Easter egg hunt. It's time to now wrap all of that information into a pretty bow for you to understand it on a whole, to master it, to understand it, to be take that information with you, because ascension is near. Ascension is very close. And so we need you to have all the pieces to the puzzle.
Well, thank you. I am curious about his connections, and how he did get that information. Can you help me understand more how it is that he gets such extraordinary information? I'm speaking of the time when I was seeing that video. I have follow up questions.
He had physical contact with the collectives that created that connection, because during that time, that was what was needed. And that's where our resources needed to go, was to make that physical connection. And we continued the physical connection of manifesting ourselves within his reality. And then that in turn created a connection that would allowed us to channel information through him. But his body at first needed to assimilate with our energy. And the way that we did that to create that spark of connection was through physical contact. And yes, you do have the same connections with of collectives that you are attuned to. They are the same guides that have guided him and that are guiding you and guiding a lot of the star seeds and the soul family that's connected to you.
Thank you. I was stunned at the information he was sharing in that video because it was literally sentence for sentence for sentence that I had just spoken about within an hour prior to even looking at this video. It really stunned me.
You were tuning into the channeling of that information. So you will become more, you are comfortable with the channeling, but that was just our confirmation for you to understand that you are on the bright path and you are of purest connection. And we send little things like that to you to just keep you going and understanding in the faith of the pure connection that you have with us.
Thank you. And so, in terms of Alex, what can you tell us about his information now that he is sharing?
The information now that he is sharing is he is still sharing very, very true information. However, his ego in the density of some of the heartache that he's had is placing a layer on that information. And so, but the information is still as pure that is being channeled to him as it has always been. However, his ego and that heartache that he is holding on to is changing the information. So to some, it may not seem the same, but it is.
Okay, I understand. Is there anything else you would like us to know about Alex?
Are you asking if he is still on this earth or if he has ascended?
I'm asking if there is anything you would like us to know.
That he is still here on earth, that he is like he still has a role to play in getting the information out to those that need it, that those that are on the ascension ladder that are now tuning to higher frequency information, that he is still has a role to play, and that he will be ascending on the shift that occurs, the first shift that occurs here next. And you all that are tuning and find this information resonating with you, part of the same collective of soul family, you all will have connection with him when you ascend to New Earth.
I see. Thank you so much. Um, the only thing I'd ever heard about him was one statement from Dr. Richard Gere saying that he had been falsely abducted by humans with costumes. What would you like us to know about that?
Well, that Dr. Gear has had there was a time where he felt like everyone was out to get him, and that he became somewhat, although he has pushed through it for the most part, he became very paranoid about all things. The information was a lot at first for him, and the ones that knew his information was pure were, there was an enemy at every corner in his eye. And so he was feeling very, very paranoid and in that fear state, which is understandably so in his situation. He has since moved past that fear and understands that he was just not able to discern the ones that were good and bad that were placed in his path. However, this did do a disservice to the information we were trying to get out, because it created a seed of doubt within humanity of whether the information was true or not. However, that was another opportunity for them to use free will to ask if the information was true. And had they done that, they would have been given the information was true and that they could trust it. So it is all purposeful, and it was to honor contracts. However, it was a statement was made out of paranoia.
Thank you. And it's a really good reminder for people to not blindly believe other people's opinions of others, that we must do our own research and feel into the information rather than coming from a fear based or peer pressure of just blindly trusting others that seem to have great information but yet somewhat have cast doubts on others potentially.
Yes, and trust that the timing now of this information be released is also very purposeful. So, although the connections were not made during that time, we were still able to use those resources at a future time to help bring enlightenment and awakening to those that need it during this time. So, we made lemonade, if you would, out of lemons. And yes, it is always about using free will to ask, is this something that I need to, research for myself? Yes. Research and ask questions of all things for yourself, because you have an individual, unique contract that you need to fulfill. And it doesn't matter what the neighbor's contract is, you have a purpose here.
Is it public that Stephen Gere has made amends and can understand Alex's information now?
There's been no public information that has been transmitted of that sort.
Okay, I see. Well, I would like to set my focus now on profoundly sending love, honor, and respect to Alex for his endeavors to share the truth. No one enjoys sharing the truth when it's so extraordinarily challenging and feels very scary. So I honor him and his life purpose, and may he feel my deepest respect, love, and acknowledgement.
Yes, and we are transmitting that to him now. We are showing Carrie a picture of him smiling with his hands folded, of just he appreciates being acknowledged.
Yes, is very challenging sharing information that no one wants to hear, because it just seems too gruesome and challenging. And okay, thank you so much. The last um, the last thing I wanted to ask before I call in the next person, Carrie was asking whether are we just on a ship and we're just being given information to prepare us to arrive on the new Earth. What would you like us to know about that?
We'd like you to know that, yes, we are, although you are physically experiencing it, and this is a reality that you are experiencing to landmark the consciousness of it. However, it is being transmitted from a ship, if you will, the experience that you have now. And that was unlocked when we, this past year, when the majority of the collectives were ascending through the fourth dimensional consciousness. That unlocked abilities for manifestation and for fifth dimensional transmissions here. So it's very confusing for humanity, and we understand in unveiling this information. You are having a physical experience that is unlocking a conscious experience. That is why you are able to co-create so profoundly at this moment. However, it is being transmitted from a ship.
So the physical, what Carrie perceives as being the physical planet, that's 3D. What would you like her to understand?
We'd like her to understand that it is all just a perception of reality, and it is all what's needed to awaken her and awaken all for this experience of ascension.
And can you show her when she shifted, if that's the correct term?
We're showing her, she can't make out the time, but we are showing her like with the earth, like moving away from the earth. And we are not showing her the date of when she shifted. What we are showing her is the date. Wait, is that the date that she shifted? She's having a hard time making this out a little bit, but we're showing her the shift has occurred in a sense. However, we're still playing out the roles that we need to. Like we keep on repeating to Carrie that this is the way it had to happen to use the least amount of resources.
I see. And so, what else? So she's traveling. How else can you explain to us so we can understand what's happening?
So she's traveling. It's almost like she's looking out a window of some type of ship. And there are these rows and rows and rows of like bodies. And we're all connected, like we're all sleeping. And we're all connected into like this programming. Like they're monitoring us. And it's about so it's about disconnecting the consciousness from this carbon body that we are experiencing, and it's about placing it into the crystalline bodies. So our crystalline body is like, we're already detached. The crystalline bodies have already ascended. They're already just waiting there for us, so that when the detachment from the carbon bodies of the consciousness of the soul is detached, it is just about transporting that energy. It's not actually transporting the crystalline bodies. They're already waiting for us. We're already waiting up there.
I see. And so her 3D life, shall we say, is just a simulation for her to master and accept the what would you like us to what would you like to tell her next?
We do realize it's a lot of information at this time, and that it's going to take a little bit of pondering to ask different questions that we can help with. What we want you to know is that the crystalline bodies were already detached, but they were not detached with the soul. And so that was the first phase of ascension, to get those bodies to safety. Now, what you are experiencing here on Earth right now is your soul spark within that 3D carbon body. And we had to detach the crystalline bodies because it was too hard to remove all the resources of the bodies and the souls at the same time. We were not able to do that safely for all humanity. And so we had to reroute the plan and take part of the body structure that was crystalline and already put it in the ships to await humanity. And so once humanity was ready for this information and ready to step into their power, to embrace that they have more control within this ascension, then we could create that disconnect from the carbon body, and it would just be taking that energy of consciousness and the soul energy. And now we're just only taking that, and we can safely, more safe, transport that than transporting that connected to a crystalline body and place it on the ships that are heavily protected right now.
Oh, I see. And so when Carrie shifts, it's just her consciousness goes and returns back to that crystalline body that's on the ship already.
Yes, yes. And that is part of what we had to reconfigure.
Extraordinary. I'm loving this. Yes, it makes so much sense. So, okay, well, that is exciting and great confirmation. We really appreciate that. And then, so when is humanity ready to understand and awaken?
Well, as you know, not all will, but we we're showing, that it's very soon as far as time goes. But this was a huge piece of that timeline split. That timeline split that happened was a way for us to, not in a way, confuse you all who are awakened, but we distracted you in a way in getting you to ask different questions so that we could do some of this work. And then you would think it was, oh, my body feels this way because of the timeline split. This is because the timeline shift. And we were kind of like, distracting you with that instead of like, and then letting you assimilate with the changes, and then saying, like, okay, this is what happened really. And now wrap your brain around that. So Carrie's laughing because she's like, yeah, that's a lot that you just showed me. But we want humanity to know that this is a huge piece in the safety of this shift that needs to occur. And now we have safeguarded all that we've needed to. So it's just a matter of humanity and the collectives that need to awaken to finish their work to release that density. And a lot of people are there. Um, but you'll know you're there when you start applying these lessons daily in every encounter that you experience. So if you are not feeling like you are moving in harmony with these lessons and experiences with everything you encounter, then just ask for more release.
Thank you. And then for those people who are still experiencing ascension symptoms, what now can you help us understand, given the information you just shared with us about our physical bodies and the symptoms we're feeling?
The symptoms you're feeling is the crystalline energy that has been released. And so that has also caused because your body is transforming and the cells were changing to release. And now that there has been release, it somewhat has to change again to now not support that crystalline structure and to now be, just purely carbon based.
Will people know when they fully detach themselves from that crystalline structure? What can you explain to us?
Well, you'll feel like the symptoms are not as much. However, for most, the ones that we need awakened to assist humanity, they have like a majority of them have already detached, but they will still feel symptoms until their carbon body reassimilates. And then it'll just kind of feel like the symptoms aren't there anymore.
Okay, well, thank you. That's really extraordinary. Okay, I will ponder my next questions for you about that. But in the meantime, for this last question, I'd like to call upon Dolores Cannon, please. I would love to be able to hear from her once again because of my love and devotion.
Mm, I'm here, Joe.
I can feel it because it always makes me want to cry. And I know now that is just the pure love that I feel for you over sadness or anything else.
Yes, and I have that love for you too, and you know that. And the way that you have carried on the work that I have loved so much just makes my heart beam. My heart beams with joy and pride that I was able to ignite this information and this desire within you. I mean, out of all the things I've encountered, and it was amazing work, this does bring me joy when I see those ones carrying on my work that have a love, that know the love I had for the work because it was so tremendous.
Absolutely. It blows my mind that there are people that know you and your work and even practice this and don't have the best integrity for humanity.
Yes, and the fact that people are swinging and missing, in my heart, it's at least they're trying and but it is a lot of information, and it takes a really dedicated and connected soul to really carry on this information because it is pretty dense down there, and you can get distracted and wrapped up in some of those lower density things like sadness or fear or anything. And so I understand it, but at least people are trying, is what I really feel like. At least I ignited something in them to try.
Absolutely. And so when you did leave your body, did you then gain a crystalline body and are you um, crystalline based or what happened?
No, I went to pure energy and became a light source energy that I have been. I have the choice and I can go to a crystalline body, um, once this work is done. And I really would like that connection with all that I had and to reconnect with them on the new earth and to really celebrate with all that have endured, all that they have endured, and with my soul family. And so I will go to that. But right now, I'm really just an energy source.
Thank you so much. And it does seem like you're very busy on the other side helping awaken many because when I listen to your radio shows, which have been shared weekly on YouTube, the comments are saying they've just discovered you. And it's so exciting that you're still impacting people on a daily basis. So we honor you for all that you have done for humanity.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I love the new connections that I get to make. All this time on the earth realm, I was there trying to connect with the other side. And now I'm on the other side and I'm enjoying connecting with the earth realm. So it's kind of a it's kind of a funny thing if you think of it, but I really do enjoy the connections.
Well, I'm so glad. Do you have a message for humanity at this time?
My message is for all of you that you are all on the right path. You all can do it. I'm very honored to be acknowledged in my work, but I'm more honored that all of you are applying this information. All of you are seeking higher information. All of you are asking bigger questions, and all of you are trusting yourselves, trusting your teams. And I just want to encourage you even more to fall and to surrender to that, because you guys, it is all has a purpose. It is all beautiful and is all wonderful. And you are all a part of that divine plan. And I just want to cheer you on and tell you all I love you. I'm grateful. And I'm here anytime you want to connect with me. But I want to also let you know you don't need me. You don't need that connection as much as I love it. All that you need is the connection with self and with your teams, and everything else will fall into place as it is supposed to be.
You always give us such the best, highest perspective, and we love and honor you for that. And we will apply the information that you have given to us today and all the other information that you have shared, because you do have a true service agenda for humanity, and we love that about you.
Thank you. And I love you guys all so much.
Okay, well, we'll let you recede to where you belong, which is in the hearts of many, isn't it, really?
Yes, yes.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And we'll ask for Carrie's team to come back in and any other collectives that need to use this vehicle. Is there any messages that you would like us to know at this time?
Yes, we want the vehicle to relax a little. She feels very like the information just received about the crystalline bodies is a lot of information to transmit. And so we want to help her relax and release that this was us speaking, and that she knows she knew to even have that conversation with you earlier today is because we were trying to attune her that we needed to get, it was the timing was right to get this information across. And so she needs to trust in that divine information. We want to let all of the humanity, the star seeds, the beings that hear this information to surrender in the same way and understand that the reason you are hearing this information now is because you are ready to receive the information. We would not have provided this information to you if the timing was not correct. And that is all relevant to that the frequency and the energy and the vibration that you are all holding is becoming higher. And that is an acknowledgement to the work that are all that are doing and the connections that are being made, that you are able to now fully encompass and understand this information that is this high caliber. We will provide to you all that is appropriate of the timing when it is appropriate. And we have divine trust in understanding that you are going to have more questions. And we want to let you know your need to use your free will to ask for those connections to receive those answers. And if you're not receiving those answers, it's not because there's something wrong with you. It is because it is not the correct time for us to provide those answers to you. However, you are going to be feeling like the pressure pot is going to be getting more tense, and that there's going to be, you're going to feel the energies ramp up and become higher here very, very momentarily. And we all want you to know that it is important to ground and to transmute that energy that is not yours so that you can still continue to receive higher information that you need to help guide humanity during that time. We are here to support you. We are here to love you. We are proud of you. And we know that this time is going to feel worrisome or high anxiety for some, but that just, all that is just the density telling you to release. Because once you release it, you'll be able to see it from the higher perspective and receive the transmissions you need to. And we just want to say, we know it's going to amp up here soon, but you have everything you need, and have faith in that for this next leg of your journey.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Would it be wise for people to feel and trust their connection to the crystalline bodies are safe and protected, and that to not worry so much about their 3D physical bodies, because ultimately the shift to the crystalline bodies is exactly what we can trust and know, and not be so focused on the physical?
Yes, yes. Everything that you do that manifests on the physical reality is all spiritual. So if you manifest more in the spiritual, the physical reality is not something that is going to be need to be worried about, because it will only manifest the highest frequency. And so the of utmost important is the spiritual caretaking that you need to have right now And you need to start realizing everything's energy and frequency, and to tap into that within your spiritual realm, and everything else that needs to be will manifest within the physical reality.
Thank you. So then it would be wise for people to stop focusing on any issues or ailments with the body and trust that this is a temporary situation.
Yes, and it is a distraction. We have given you higher information now. So now apply this information and realize that those ailments and those physical things are all distraction from the focus of the spiritual journey that you need to ascend upon. And that it is also whatever needs to be is going to happen to honor your contract.
Fantastic. Got it. Yes, absolutely. Okay, well, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We really appreciate that, and I trust everyone will feel more connected into their crystalline bodies and have that perspective and mindset versus worrying about what's going to happen to their physical bodies here in the 3D or the illusion of the 3D.
Yes, if you will, we're showing Carrie like a silver cord to your crystalline bodies and the experience you are having right now. And so if you trust and understand that that silver cord is connected, and that you guys are connected to those bodies, and the healing that is being, and the upgrades that are occurring on the ships right now within the crystalline bodies will manifest on the 3D realm, and the healing that happens spiritually on the 3D realm will also upload into the crystalline bodies. So all is purposeful and all is meant to be.
Wonderful. I will be excited to connect again. Thank you very much. Is there any final messages?
No, not at this time.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Really appreciate this conversation.